This morning I want to tell you a story about a really good friend of mine, and her name is Lisa. Lisa is what I call an A1 day one, right? Meaning like from the very beginning, from the first day that I met her, she has proven to be an incredible friend. About 10 years ago, I was working at a church called Philippi Church of Christ in Crestwell, North Carolina. And if you're asking yourself, where is Crestwell, North Carolina? Exactly, okay? It is in the middle of nowhere. Nobody knows where Crestwell is. But there's a church there, and that church means the world to me. It was my first church that I ever worked at. They were very patient with me. I learned a lot. In fact, this is just a side note from the story. This church, like Campus Church, when we started, Philippi Church helped us get started. They helped us in a huge way. We would not be meeting here today if it was not for this church full of awesome people. And one of those people, her name is Lisa. So I was this youth minister at this church, and one day in the parking lot, we're all talking, everybody's outside, kind of mixing and mingling, and I said something, and I know that this is going to be hard for you guys to believe, but I said something and I didn't think it all the way through, right? I know, right? I was talking and like, oh yeah, I just said it. It probably should have been a private conversation, but it wasn't a private conversation. There was a million people around, and I just said something. And somebody heard it, and they were confused because they didn't understand the context in which it was being spoken in. They just heard what I said. So you know what they did? They went home, and they called another person in the church. And they said, hey, can you believe Kevin said this? And they said, oh my gosh, you know what we got to do? We got to call another person. And so this person calls another person, this person calls another person, they call a friend, they call another friend, and before you know it, I got like 20 people out there, and they hate my guts, okay? And I'm so oblivious, I have no idea what's happening. I'm just living my best life, like loving this church, thinking that this church loves me, not so much. And I remember like the next week I got a phone call, and it was from Lisa. She said, hey Kevin, I got a question for you. And I said, what's going on? She said, I'm curious, did you say this? And I said, oh, no, I said that, but like, that's not what I really meant. And I said, you know, in the context of what you were talking about, and I explained the situation. And she said, okay. She said, that's what I thought, but you should know that there's like 20 people out there, and they hate you right now because they think you said this. And I was like, what are you talking about? And they said, well, so I got a phone call that this person heard, and then she tells me the story. This person heard, he called this person, called this person, called this person. And they tried to call me, and I told them, like, hey, did you talk to Kevin about this? This doesn't sound like Kevin. You should call Kevin. But none of them wanted to call you. And so I don't feel like it's fair to you, so I'm calling you today just to let you know, like, all this stuff is happening. And so I thank Lisa, and I hang up the phone, and I call the person, the original person that was, started all of this stuff. And I said, hey, what's going on? I hear that you have a problem with me. And she said, yeah, I do, because you said this. And in two sentences, I completely fixed and cleared up this situation. I said, yeah, I said this, but really what was happening was this. And she said, oh my gosh, okay, that makes so much more sense now. Thanks for finding that up for me. I'll talk to you later. And I was like, no, don't go anywhere. I was like, you need to come back here. I have a question for you. Why did you talk to so many people about this? Why didn't you talk to me about this? And this person, you ever do this when you're in a tight jam? You just scramble for answers. You're like making stuff up. She's like, oh, well, I knew it was a problem, and I'm just trying to figure out a solution. I didn't want to bother you. And I was like, that's not true, okay? Because if I'm the problem, I'm probably the solution, okay? So I don't believe you. You weren't really looking for a solution. And she said, I know, but I was just scared to hurt your feelings, and I was thinking of your feelings. And I was like, no, that's not true, because you talked to 20 people about me, and they all hate me right now. And right now, my feelings are pretty angry at you. Okay, so I would make the case that you were not, concerned with my feelings at all. And so she kept trying and eventually, she came clean and she said, and even to this day, we're fine. She said, hey, I'm sorry. I really shouldn't have done that. I should have talked to you. You see, the problem was not her trying to find a solution. The problem was not her considering my feelings. The problem was gossip. Now, I share that story this morning because today we are finishing our sermon series called My Big Fat Mouth. And over the last few weeks, we've talked about the power and the weight of our words. The first week, we talked about complaining, right? Paul says, do everything without grumbling or complaining. The second week, we talked about criticizing, right? And how it's easy to criticize other people, but we hate it when people criticize us. It's hard to see a critical spirit inside of ourselves. Last week, we talked about lying. And we talked about living a life full of truth and confessing some of the stuff that you keep inside. But this week, as we end this series, I want to talk about a sin that, in my opinion, it doesn't get talked about enough. I want to talk about the sin of gossip. It says this in Proverbs chapter 26, verse 20. It says, fire goes out without wood, and quarrels disappear when gossip stops. I have a theory in my life, and that is that if you and me, if all of us in here, if we just stopped gossiping, if we stopped talking, I guarantee you that the majority, not all, but the majority of your problems, they would probably get easier, and they might even just go away. Right? The same way that you take fire or wood away from a fire and the fire dies down, if you just stop talking about all of this stuff, a lot of these escalated situations will probably die down themselves. But the problem is we can't do that because we love talking about that stuff. Right? We love gossip. If you're honest with yourself, you love some juicy gossip. In fact, there are people in this room right now, and you can't stand the fact that I didn't give you more details in the opening story. And later, you're going to corner me. And you're like, hey, what was really said there? You're laughing, you know it's true. You're like, yo, what'd you do? What'd she say? Oh my gosh, right? Because you guys love some gossip. You follow people on Instagram because of their gossip. You are friends with people because they got juicy gossip and they always got the best stuff. You make friends with people higher up in your career because you want to know the gossip that's going on up there, and you want to know the gossip that's going down here. You see, we love gossip. It says this in Proverbs 18, verse 8. It says, rumors are like dainty morsels that sink deep into one's own heart. You guys ever do this? You ever have what I call a snackcident? You ever have a snackcident, right? So this is what a snackcident is. Like, you're going and you eat a chip. This happened to me this week. You eat a chip, and it's just one chip, right? It's like 2 calories. I mean, it's really not that big of a deal. You eat a chip, it's delicious. You're like, oh, let me have one more. Let me have one more. And you eat another chip and another chip and another chip. And you don't really pay attention. But then before you know it, you eat so many chips and you look down and the whole bag is gone. Uh-oh, had a snackcident, right? You snacked too hard. You ate the whole bag of chips. Well, the Proverbs, it basically says the same thing. It says gossip is kind of like eating a bag of chips, right? It starts off and it's just one little phrase. Okay? Hey, did you hear about John? It's just one little phrase. But you know, you can't just eat one chip. No. What happened? What happened? Ooh, well, his wife, right? And you eat another one. Oh, well, that explains it because I saw his wife. You eat another one. And before you know it, you are full-blown gossiping about somebody, and you've eaten a whole bag of gossip chips. And we think that this problem starts in like middle school and high school, and that this isn't really, it shouldn't be taken, for adults into consideration. And that's true, it does start in middle school and high school, but what happens is we don't address it there, and it grows with us. And so, not only is it in middle school and high school, but when we grow up, we bring it into our workplaces, and we gossip about our coworkers, we gossip about our team leads, and about our boss. It goes with us into our families. Because pretty soon it's going to be Thanksgiving dinner, and it's going to be Christmas dinner, and we talk about Aunt Julie and Uncle Carson, right? And oh my gosh, you're laughing. You know it's true, right? We even do this thing. We even do this at church, right? We start talking about people at church, except we call it prayer requests. Hey, you got to pray for this person because did you hear? And I don't want to gossip, but let me just tell you the juiciest gossip, okay? You see, we love gossip. It says in Psalms 41, verse 6, it says, they visit me as if they were my friends, but all the while they gather gossip, and when they leave, they spread it everywhere. If you have been a victim of gossip, you know how bad it hurts. You know how bad it stings. You know the relationships and the friendships that it absolutely ruins. And I think this is why Romans is so harsh when it comes to gossip. In Romans chapter 1, verse 29, it says, their lives become full of every kind of wickedness, sin, greed, hate, envy, murder, quarreling, deception, malicious behavior, and gossip. They are backstabbers, haters of God, insolent, proud, and boastful. They invent new ways of sinning and they disobey their parents. They refuse to understand, they break their promises, and they are heartless and they have no mercy. You see, if the writer of Romans thinks that gossip is such a bad sin that it should be grouped in with murdering people and with hating God, I think that we should take gossip probably a little bit more serious. And so what I want to do this morning is I want to talk about gossip. I want to talk about the impact that it has on our lives. I want to talk about the ways that gossip hurts us. And then I want to talk about how we can avoid gossip. And so if you got a Bible, we are going to be in the book of Proverbs. If you don't have a Bible, it's totally fine. We have the words on the screen for you. By the way, we're testing out the screen. So we have the lyrics up top. Is that better? No response. Cool. All right, sweet. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out next week as we continue to play trial and error. We're going to be in Proverbs. If you don't have a Bible, it's totally fine. We have a table in the back, and it's full of Bibles. And we encourage you every week. If you want a Bible, just take one. It's free. Read the book of Proverbs. Somebody came up to me after the first service, and they said, hey, I got a question about this. Doesn't the Bible say that? Doesn't the Bible say this? And I asked them, I said, well, where does it say it? And they're like, well, I don't know. I just thought it said it. It's like, well, show me where it says it, right? Read it, figure it out. And so we always encourage you, own your growth. Take the Bible, read it, and we promise you, if you just read the book of Proverbs, it will change your life. We're going to be in Proverbs chapter 16, verse 28, but we're going to jump all over Proverbs today. If you are a note taker, that was weird. I took a sip and you heard all of that. Those are good speakers. If you are a note taker, I want you to write this down. I want you to write down that number one, that gossip hurts the person that it's spoken about. Gossip hurts the person that is spoken about. In Proverbs 16:28, it says, a troublemaker plants seeds of strife. Gossip separates the best of friends. Look, I don't care who you are. I don't care if you believe in God, or maybe you're not sure about church. Maybe you don't really know about the whole Jesus thing or about the whole Bible thing. Even if you disagree with the Bible, you can at least acknowledge, like, that's very real because you've experienced that in your life, man. Gossip, it will separate friends. It will ruin relationships. I mean, for some of you, it was a time where you maybe told someone your crush, right? Like, hey, you see that guy over there, you see that girl over there? I think I like them, man. I think I'm going to get into them. But then, what happened is your friend went and they told them, or they told somebody else who told them. And not only did it ruin the chances that you had with your crush, but it ruined your friendship as well, because you ain't going to tell them anything anymore, right? Because you can't trust them. Maybe for some of you, it's an addiction that you're struggling with. I mean, you finally muster up the courage. After years, you finally muster up the courage to tell someone about this problem, and they completely betray your trust, and they tell other people, and they tell people that are closest to you, and they've messed up your life. And now, not only are you still struggling with addiction, but it has set you back in trusting people in the future to tell more people about what you are going through. For some of you, maybe it's a marriage. Right, your husband and your wife, something happened and you're really, really struggling, and you open up and you tell somebody, but they tell everybody. And now everybody knows your business, and not only is your marriage still struggling, but now you have to deal with the public opinion of your family and your friends who know all about your business. Your marriage isn't any better, and all of your relationships are severed. You see, gossip, it separates friends. Literally, I know I read this earlier, I'm going to read it again in Psalms 41:6. It says, they visit me as if they were my friends, but all the while they just gather gossip. And when they leave, they spread it everywhere. You guys, you ever play that telephone game when you were a little kid? You ever played the telephone game? You sit in a circle. If you never played it, you sit in a circle and you whisper something in someone's ear, and then you whisper and you whisper and you whisper, and then it gets to the end, and usually it makes no sense. Like you might start off by saying, like, the Commanders are the best team in the league, right? And you go, and by the time it gets to the end, it's like, I love a purple dinosaur or something. I don't know. It just doesn't make any sense, right? The further down the line it goes, the further away it gets from the truth. The same is true with gossip. When you spread it, the further it spreads, the less truth that is actually in there. You see, when you gossip, it hurts the person that the gossip is about. The second thing is that it hurts the listener. Gossip hurts the listener. It says in Proverbs chapter 17, verse 4, it says, wrongdoers eagerly listen to gossip. Liars pay close attention to slander. There's a guy, his name is Craig Rochelle, and he has this quote. He says, what you permit, you you actually promote. Okay, whatever you permit, you actually promote. Meaning by allowing this to happen, you're actually encouraging it to happen by not putting a stop to it. What you permit, you actually promote. And when you listen to gossip and you go, well, I'm not talking, I'm just listening. Now you're actually talking, you're just as guilty. It takes two to tango. When you are listening, you are just as bad as the person doing the gossiping. And here's the thing, don't think that once you're done listening to gossip, don't think that once they're done talking to you, that when you leave, that they're not going to talk about you. Because if they talk about everybody else to you, what are they saying about you to everyone else? You see, the problem with listening to gossip is actually a heart issue. It says this in Luke 6:45, this is Jesus talking, and he says, the good person produces good things from the treasury of a good heart. And an evil person produces evil things from the treasury of an evil heart. What you say flows from what is in your heart. I have a 3-year-old, right, and I would never allow my 3-year-old one day to just wake up and listen to a bunch of 50 Cent and play a bunch of Call of Duty or any other M-rated video game, and then watch a bunch of gory, scary movies, okay? And you know why? Because he's 3 years old, okay? I know that that's going to affect his heart, that's going to affect his mind. If all you do is listen to gossip and you eagerly wait for this stuff, what are you putting in your heart? It is going to fill your heart full of evil. And so we don't listen to gossip because gossip, and it hurts the listener. The last thing is that gossip also hurts the speaker. It says this in Proverbs 25, verse 9 and 10. It says, when arguing with your neighbor, don't betray another person's secret. Others may accuse you of gossip, and you will never again regain your good reputation. You see, if you are a person who likes the gossip, I'm letting you know that gossip, even though you think it's cool, is actually really, really hurting you. You can build your entire life trying to be a good person, trying to be a good friend, trying to be a good family member, trying to be a good, employee, whatever it is. And the moment somebody catches you in gossip, your good reputation is gone literally forever. And no one will know if they will ever be able to trust you. I don't know about you guys, this is just me, just speaking for me here, but whenever I see someone gossiping, I never think to myself, man, I wish I could be more like them. Never do I think that. Usually I think like, oh, I wonder what they say about me when I'm not around, right? Because if they are talking about that person's like the nicest person I know. I'm a terrible person, right? So like, imagine what they're talking about me. Or I'll think to myself like, man, I need to be careful with the words that I choose around this person because they're going to take everything I say and they're going to twist it later and they're going to use it to spread false information. I never look at a person and think, man, you gossip, oh, that's so cool. Gossip is not cool. It doesn't make you a likable person. It doesn't make you have a lot of friends. If anything, it hurts you because if you gossip, people will literally avoid you. People will stop hanging out with you and you will have no friends. And it's probably a good thing because of the way that you gossip about literally everybody. You see, gossip, it hurts the person it's spoken about. It hurts the listener, and it hurts the person who's doing all of the slander. Ultimately, gossip, it hurts everyone. And so the question is, how do we avoid this stuff? When we live in a world where gossip is actually promoted, right? Like it's a cool thing to gossip. They have whole magazines and articles about gossip, and like it's not viewed as a bad thing. How do we protect our hearts? How do we protect our lives around gossip? And I think there's two things. The first thing is really easy. The first thing I think you have to do is you have to stop listening. You have to stop listening. I read an article not long ago, and in the article they said that there is a question that you can ask. And the question will single-handedly stop gossip in its tracks, just like that. The next time someone is gossiping to you, the next time they're sharing all of this information, you look at them and you ask this question and say, hey, why are you telling me this? And what it does is it forces people to just take a mental inventory of like, hey, yeah, why am I? Did you hear about Joey? Why are you telling me about Joey? I don't know. I don't know why I'm telling you about this. Now, I understand as a person who loves confrontation, okay? As a person who has no problem using the horn, okay? Some of you are like, well, you pressed the horn? Like, no, I wailed on the horn, okay? I love confrontation. I understand that this question for me, I'm super comfortable asking it. Like, why are you telling me this? Don't talk to me about this. But some of you in here, you're like, no, I don't want to say that. That could upset people. That could get someone angry at me. I get it. I understand, right? I disagree with you, but I get it, okay? I do have another question that's a little bit of a softer approach. And that question is still the same. I think it's actually a little bit better. The question is, instead of why do you tell me about this, the question is, when someone's gossiping, you say, hey, have you talked to so-and-so about this? Or like, did you get a chance to talk to this person about this yet? You get a chance to talk to them about it? Because what you do when you do that, you're actually teaching them a biblical command from Jesus. Jesus says this. In Matthew chapter 18, verse 15, he says, if someone sins against you, go privately and point out the offense. If the other person listens and confesses, you have won that person back. And so the next time somebody's gossiping at you, hey, did you hear about Joey? Yeah, but did you get a chance to talk to Joey about it? Oh man, it sounds like he's going through it. You should really talk to him about it, right? But don't talk to me about it, you should talk to them. You should talk to these people who you're talking about. You see, you are redirecting them, you're making them take a mental inventory, and you are cutting off the gossip. But sometimes you even do that, and they still don't stop. Sometimes you try to redirect the conversation, sometimes you lay down these boundaries, and they still keep gossiping all the time. What do we do? I would say, in an effort to stop listening, sometimes you gotta stop that relationship. It says in Proverbs, chapter 20, verse 19, it says, a gossip goes around telling secrets, so don't hang out with chatterers. If you are like Kevin, so mean, right, to cut my friend off. This is my best friend. What are you talking about? But yeah, your best friend talks junk about everybody. I'm not the one telling you that. The Bible is telling you that. Proverbs, Solomon is telling you this, right? If you are a person who, man, you got friends that are constantly gossiping, and maybe it's time to find new friends. Maybe it's time to cut this relationship off and find new friends that don't gossip all the time. And so we have to stop listening. The second thing is that we have to stop talking. We have to stop talking. It says this in Proverbs 21, verse 23. It says, watch your tongue, keep your mouth shut, and you will stay out of trouble. Watch your tongue, keep your mouth shut, and you will stay out of trouble. Every single week when I talk to you guys, I make an effort to summarize everything that I'm saying into one sentence. Okay, it's kind of my goal. It's the challenge I give myself, like summarize everything into one sentence. And this really kind of hits the nail on the head. I didn't have to do any work because of this scripture. It says, watch your tongue, keep your mouth shut, and stay out of trouble. So here's what I want to do. I want to give you the Kevin McNeil version of this, and I want you guys to repeat after me 3 things, okay? Number 1, I want you to say this out loud. I want you to say, watch your tongue. I want you to say, shut up, and stay out of trouble. Right? It's that simple. Watch your tongue, shut up, stay out of trouble. And when you do this, and you stop talking, you stop the spread of gossip. You know, I want you to think through. If you are really about to say something, right, think about the person that you're about to talk about and ask yourself, if the roles were switched, would I want this person saying the same thing about me? Right? Would I want all of these details about my life spread? If you know a secret about somebody, would you want someone to take your secret and share it to all of these people who don't really like you? The answer is probably no. And this is actually another command from Jesus. Jesus says this in Luke 6:31. He says, do to others as you would like them to do to you. Notice what he does not say here. He does not say, do to others as they are doing to you. He does not say, do to others as they've done to you. He says, do to others as you would like them to do to you. And so what I would like people to do to me is I would like you to honor me. I would like you to treat me with dignity and respect and love me. And if you know some stuff about me, talk to me in person, in private about it, and not blast my business all over the world. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do that about other people as well. And I'm not going to listen to gossip, and I'm not going to talk and start to gossip. I'm going to watch my mouth, I'm going to shut up, and I'm going to stay out of trouble. You know, I shared this illustration with our first service as we closed just like an hour ago, and I just got roasted. And so I'm fully anticipating you guys roasting me, but I don't care. I'm right, you're wrong. I made an illustration, and I've heard this over the years. I don't know where I got it from, but you compare, if you know, like the temperature's changing, and like right now you're probably making fun of me because I'm wearing sandals and shorts and it's cold outside. But in like an hour, you're gonna be like sweating in your like sweatshirts, and I'm gonna be living my best life. So you never know how to control like what to set the temperature to. And I made the comparison of a thermostat and a thermometer. And I don't know if I'm saying that right. Y'all really messed me up. Thermometer, whatever. I'm saying thermometer. And if it bothers you, there's the doors. When you look at a thermometer, right? If you look at a thermometer, I'm really gonna mess this up, bro. Gauge, that's what we're gonna call it, a gauge, okay? When you look at a gauge, a thermometer gauge, all that does is when you go into a room, okay? When you go into a room and it's cold, that gauge, it tells you that it's cold, okay? It just reads the room. When you go into a room and it's hot, and you look at the wall, it's going to tell you that it's hot, and that's all it's going to do. And if the room changes, it changes with it. It goes from hot to cold. It's just going to read the temperature to you, and it's going to tell you, oh, okay, room's hot, or room's cold, or room's warm, or whatever. But to be a thermostat, it's completely different. Not only does it read the room, but a thermostat has the ability to change the room. A thermostat has the ability to influence the room. And so if it's hot, you can go up to the thermostat, and the thermostat can make it cold. In fact, when we got in here this morning, it was freezing, and we turned on that little tiny thermostat, and now it's kind of warm. And you guys are like, oh my gosh, it's too hot. You need to have the AC back on. Maybe it's how we are as people. You see, a thermostat has the ability to change the room. And so my challenge to you this week is don't be a thermometer, right? Don't be a thermometer. Instead, be a thermostat, right? The rooms that you walk into this week, right? The rooms at your work, the rooms at your school, the rooms in your house with your family, read those rooms. But you have the ability to be a thermostat. And if they're talking junk and they're gossiping and they're saying all this evil stuff, you have the ability to redirect that and to change that and to stop listening to that and say, hey, instead, I'm not going to engage in that. I'm going to bring you all with me, and I'm going to show you how we can live our best lives and not talk crap about other people. You see, this morning I want to challenge you. Be a thermostat. I want to challenge you to keep your mouth shut, right? Watch what you say and keep yourself out of trouble. Let's pray. God, we thank you that you are patient with us. We thank you that the times that we are engulfed in gossip and we are in over our heads without even realizing it, God, that you still love us, that you still forgive us, that you still are patient with us, that you still have us mercy and grace. And God, we pray that we can have that same mercy and that same grace with our brothers and our sisters when we are the victims of gossip. God, I pray for wisdom over us as individuals and us as a church to know when to stop listening and how to stop listening and how to stop talking and what the words we should say are. God, I pray that you would give us discernment as we live our lives this week. In the rooms that we walk in, we pray that we can change these rooms and we can shine our light. We can be the light of the world everywhere we go. God, we love you and we serve you and thank you for Jesus. In his name we pray.